Welcome to Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm your host, Laura Cavallo, former sugar binger, overeater, and yo-yo dieter turned fat loss and cravings coach for hundreds of busy women. Here at Cravings Control for Fat Loss, I'll be sharing mindset, movement, and metabolism strategies for those who are ready to ditch the fat diet cycle and slim down without counting calories, tracking points, or giving up any of the foods they love. Get ready to embrace progress over perfection, grace over guilt, and bring curiosity and learning to the inevitable ups and downs of your life. Expect a decrease in your cravings while seeing and feeling an improvement in how you look, how you feel, and your overall quality of life. I am so excited you're here, boo. Let's get started. Welcome to today's episode. We're talking with Sarah Staples, a certified personal trainer from Ireland who specializes in strength and conditioning. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in social science from Dublin Business College and currently holds 7 fitness certifications. She moved to California 10 years ago and started building her own fitness business from the ground up, Staples Fitness. Since then, her career has evolved and over that time has coached thousands of people in person and online to change their lives for the better. Her passion lies in helping women go from random exercising to training with intention and getting as strong as possible. She has competed in 4 strong lifting competitions and landed first place in 2 powerlifting competitions. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Give it a listen. You can follow Sarah at www.sarahstaplesfitness.com, and you can also find a link to her programs below. Hi, Sarah. Welcome onto the podcast. We just had some technical difficulties, but I think we're back. So I was saying that I have followed your strength journey over the last, not just 2 years, but really from when you and I got into our business mentorship together. And I've just been so inspired by your journey and everything that you've accomplished. And I was like, I need to have Sarah on the podcast so she can share her badassness with our listeners, because you have just come so far in like your own personal journey, but also just empowering women in the way of strength training, body confidence, and training just in general. So excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. So let's start from the beginning. I like to bring a personal element to the podcast because I think it helps women just kind of relate to us, because we're just normal day-to-day women just having an experience and doing our best. So tell us a little bit about growing up. You're from Ireland and what that was kind of like in the way of health, nutrition, and fitness.
Okay, so yeah, I grew up in Ireland and I moved to California 10 years ago now. Almost 11. It just keeps adding on. But
yeah,
you
don't notice.
I know. It's like, oh, another year. And for a while I was like, oh, it's only been 3 or 4 years. But then it was like 7. And for like maybe 2 or 3 years, I was like, oh, it's been 3 years. But anyway, yeah, so I grew up in Ireland, and as regards to health and fitness.
Yeah, more just like, how was your experience growing up in Ireland? What was your relationship with like food and exercise growing up? Was it talked about in your family? Was it a value system in your family? What was that kind of like growing up for you?
So growing up in Ireland, well, I had 3 older brothers. So the first thing I remember is whenever my mom and dad would do the shopping, like the food shopping, you know, they would come home and just have like bags of food on the table, and then it would just be gone in seconds. Like anything that tasted really good was like didn't last long. So it was kind of like as soon as you hear like my mom or dad come in from the shopping, you would like run downstairs and grab what you wanted and eat it really fast, or else like hide it, you know. So like if I ever got like chocolate and stuff, I would be hiding it. I had a few hiding spots around the kitchen,
smart,
or in my room, because it would just be gone instantly with 3 older brothers, you know. So yeah, definitely just like a little bit of a race to get the food and eat the food. I grew up in a pretty healthy family, I would say. Like I only really realized that more when I came to America, that I feel like in Ireland it's easier to get access to fresher food, just maybe because it's a smaller country and we have like more farms and stuff like that, but definitely easier access to fresher food as I was growing up. And I guess I never really thought about like, oh, I should eat healthy or I didn't really think about that until like I went to college. I'm like, oh, what do I eat? You know, how do you make a plate? Like, what do you put together? But my family was always pretty active. Like my parents always played tennis, so I kind of grew up in a tennis club, and they always had me playing tennis and just like playing hurling, which is like an
Nice.
Irish sport. The female version is camogie, and also Gaelic football. So it was like a lot of team sports. Well, except for the tennis, but yeah, my family had me in like Gaelic football, camogie, and tennis, and all the sports camps, which was good. Like I never wanted to go. I like hated. A lot of times I'm like I just want to play on the street with my friends, and or like just hang out with my friends, but they pushed me to go to a lot of sports, which I'm extremely
Yeah.
grateful for now. But never not lifting weights. I would have loved to
Hmm.
if they made me do
Yeah.
that too, but anyway, I got there at the right time.
Yeah. And so, did your brothers play sports? Did you ever play with your brothers, or was it more like male female separate?
Yeah, like we would play soccer in the back garden sometimes, or play tennis together. But like we wouldn't, or if we had like family meetup, like Christmas or something like that, we would like all my cousins would play, and it would just be like males and females. I actually have a lot of male cousins, so it was usually like me and maybe one other female with like
Wow.
15 other boys,
Oh my
which
goodness.
which is good. It like toughened me up because you're like it's contact sports, so it's like you're tackling people all the time, you know.
Yeah. And so you moved here for college to the States?
So I moved. So I was in college in Dublin, and one day my friend just said to me, like, "We're going to California for the summer to Santa Barbara. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, I definitely want to come. So she was going with like two other friends, and then I invited one of my friends. So there was a little group of us. So we went to Santa Barbara. I was just kind of going along with it. Like, okay, I'm like, okay, I'll book my flight and go. Like, and we planned on going for 3 months and arrived there and end up. I didn't realize this at the time, but like, just got to this house, big, massive house at like 2 a.m. after traveling, and realized, oh, this is a frat house that we're going to be staying in for the next 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that was really wild. Like that was a crazy introduction into California and America.
Yeah, American culture.
Yeah.
Totally. And when you were in college, were you studying to be in fitness? How did you get into fitness?
So I was studying social science, and I thought I wanted to be a social care worker. And after doing like work experience and studying that more, it just didn't make me happy. Like I loved helping people, and like in the work experience I worked with homeless people, but after a while I was just like I want to do something more active, and I've always loved like going to the gym and lifting. In college I did that a lot. Like sometimes I would even skip class and just go to the gym. But I honestly, I was like, in Ireland, the pay rate for a personal trainer is really shit. It's like minimum wage. So I was like, I can't make a career out of that. So I just didn't do it.
Right.
And I was like, it's just not an option. You know, you don't. It's just not a career option. So I just was like, okay, that's just going to be something I enjoy doing myself. And then when I came to Santa Barbara, my visa had some restrictions, and I could only work in an office job, and I just hated it. I was just like, I don't want to be in an office like all day when it's so nice outside, and I want to be active. I just want to be outside like moving around. So I stuck it out for like a while, and then eventually I was just like, fuck this. I need to do what makes me happy, no matter like how much I get paid or what, like the money. Of course it matters, but it's not. I'm miserable being in
Right.
this office
Yeah.
Monday to Friday. So then I like still have my office job, and I decided to get certified as a trainer. And I just started like training people in like a park. Like I put ads on Craigslist, and yeah, I remember I got this one guy emailed me, and I met him like in a park, and I had like a TRX rope, and I had like a Bosu ball, and I just like trained him for like an hour, and I charged him like $20. And I remember like getting that $20, and I took a picture of it, and I was just like, I'm so happy. Like I was driving home, and I was just like, I can't believe like I just trained someone. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like the beginning of something really big that I didn't even know about. I was just like, this is what I know makes me happy right now, so I'm gonna just keep going with it. Yeah, that was the beginning of it.
That's amazing. I have the chills.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
Back when Craigslist was a thing and we could
Yeah.
post safely on Craigslist, and meet up with people and
Just meet a random man in the park.
yeah. Yeah, and make $20 training. I think like that's awesome that you put yourself out there and just like took a chance, and you went with your gut instinct. You were like, I'm not happy, and then you trained
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm so happy, like I have to keep
Yeah.
doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got into fitness, how were you training originally yourself? Like what was your training methodology? I know you mentioned like a TRX and a BOSU, and now you obviously do powerlifting and strength training. What were your initial goals getting into fitness, and sort of what was your transformation towards more or of the strength training?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when I first started, it was more so, yeah, just to get skinny and smaller and just like have a really flat stomach all the time. So I would just do lots of cardio and HIIT-based workouts and yeah, TRX movements for like maybe an hour and a half. And yeah, just random shit, like just whatever, YouTube workouts or things I saw on the internet. No structure, just like whatever every day, like I wouldn't really take a rest day. But I always had the idea that like the more I do, the better I'll look and the more results I'll get. But yeah, that has all changed now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure it has. And so who are some of your first mentors when you got into fitness that have impacted your training now?
I would say like the biggest mentor and who has had the biggest impact on my life is Brett Contreras. He's like a big mentor in my life, friend, and yeah, just someone who I look up to in the strength training world. And yeah, he has really changed the game for me. Like I went to his seminar like about 4 years ago now, and then yeah, everything just kind of changed as far as my training, how I train my clients. Like he's really science based, so like it's just it just works. And like taught me about progressive overload and how to train with more structure, tracking your lifts. Like those are the key things that I wasn't doing before. I was lifting weight and lifting more weight as I got stronger, but just not really doing it with intention or like doing proper programming.
And so now what are your goals with your routine and with your programming?
Now it's just to get as strong as possible. Just keep getting stronger, and the stronger I get, the better I look as well. And the better I feel. So like I have found that when I don't focus on getting stronger, if I like set like a goal of like, oh, I want my ass to grow bigger, or I want like bigger arms, or I want like, something like that, like aesthetic goals, I will focus on that, and actually doesn't bring me more happiness. But it's like, because I'm focused on how I look all the time, I'm checking myself in the mirror, it just doesn't feel as empowering. Versus strength goals, I just want to get stronger, and I just want to feel good and be able to live a life outside of the gym that I want to, just like be able to travel and still maintain my strength, my physique that I have created, and just like be able to have balance outside of the gym too, and not be in there all day every day, but still get strong as fuck. Like I definitely want to grow my squat. I really want to get like 285. I've never done that before, and I really want to deadlift 315. I tried that 2 weeks ago at the strong lifting meet, and I failed it. It came off the ground, but I didn't get it. So that's something I'd really like to get. And then, yeah, I'd love to do a chin up with 65 pounds. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
bench 160. I've got to
Nice.
155. So yeah, just those goals that they really bring me a lot of happiness when I'm
Yeah.
working on those.
And so, what advice would you give to someone who does have more of those aesthetic goals and maybe isn't finding joy in the process or is really struggling to not just enjoy the process, but find more acceptance with their body and their health
Mm-hmm.
process? Like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you maybe coach your clients from maybe more aesthetic goals
Yeah.
to more strength or performance based goals?
Right. Yeah. And like I definitely get that because I have a lot of clients who come to me and they're just like, I want to change this about my body. I don't like this about my body, and that can be usually the reason why people start. I feel like it's the reason a lot of us start, and you kind of some of us need to go through that process because you can only tell someone so much, but they need to feel it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say that the stronger you get, the more muscle you have on your body. In my opinion, the more like freedom you can have with taking time off of the gym too, because you've created this muscle on your body, and it's just like it lasts longer the more intentional you train versus
Mm-hmm.
if you're not training properly, you might feel like you need to be in the gym more.
Right. Right.
But I would say for someone who's like really focused on how they look all the time, like there's nothing wrong with that. We all want to look our best and it's okay to have those goals too, but don't make that the whole thing, like don't make that the only thing
Right.
because your body, it first of all, it takes time, and second of all, like for example, if it's before your period or on your period and you're feeling bloated, your body image is lower than normal. Like I know a lot of us experience that. I know I do. If you're just solely focused on how you look and not looking at all the other things that lifting is doing for you, you're going to get super down and probably not want to stay consistent, not feel
Mm-hmm.
motivated.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're focused on like, oh, like, okay, like I might not like how I look in the mirror today, but I just squatted 200 pounds for the first time, you're going to be so hyped over that the body image stuff will feel so small.
Yeah.
And like over time, like that will just add up and you'll want to just keep going, keep being consistent, keep doing more.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you have those like low body image days, it can take over and not feel like you're progressing as much as you are.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think that's great advice. So, how do you work with your clients? Do you do mostly in person or are you mostly online? And do you take your clients through specific exercises like you were talking about, like bench and squat
Mm-hmm.
and pull ups? Or is it more individualized in terms of like, are those like the basics of strength training? Can you go into depth a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I do mostly online, but also in person too. It's like one-on-one and group training, and then I have like online. I have like group training and my elite coaching program, which is more one-on-one as well. But yeah, as far as like specific movements for each person, everyone has different goals, but overall, like yeah, the basics are what work, and even if you're like, oh, I just want to grow my glutes, you still want to work on your whole body because it's going to help your whole physique as well, or like, I just want to build my squat, I just want to get stronger in my squat. You're still going to benefit from getting stronger in a deadlift, it's going to carry over. So overall, we'll work on the basic movements, getting really good at those, getting stronger in those. If someone's like, hey, I hate doing bench, we don't have to do it. Like, it's not like
Mm-hmm.
you have to do these movements like bench, squat, deadlift, hip thrust, chin ups would be the basic ones, but I'm never like, you have to do this movement. It's
Right.
about enjoyment too.
Right.
And there's always something else you can do instead of a certain movement. But yeah, overall, we do definitely work on the basics, like I said earlier, the squat, bench, deadlift, hip thrust, overhead press, and chin ups. And then like accessory movements as
Mm-hmm.
well with like
Mm-hmm.
higher rep ranges.
And you talked about your elite coaching mentorship, and then you have a group
Mm-hmm.
as well online. Can you go into details about those two offerings?
Yeah, so the group training is basically for people who kind of like, all right, they're like, I'm pretty consistent. I just need a program every month and I need feedback on my form. So you'll get like a brand new program every 4 weeks. It's based on building strength and enhancing your physique as well. We have like a really amazing community in our Facebook group. Like some of them are like have been in there like 5 years at this stage and they're
Oh,
like
that's
best
amazing.
friends. Yeah, it's really cool to see that come together
Yeah.
and support each other because we know that's kind of hard to find some places like community of other women like lifting each other up and getting stronger and lifting weights. And then I also have my elite coaching mentorship, which is really for women who are ready to make like a complete transformation, who are like, I'm ready to get like the whole thing, like nutrition and training and everything outside of that, like help with and guidance with sleep and activity outside of training. It's really, really personalized. We also do like check-ins every 2 weeks and over the phone, and then we have like an Excel spreadsheet that we share. So I guide each person on how to what to lift, what weight to do, what sets to do, so they're progressive overloading every week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Specifically for them. But yeah, the elite coaching mentorship is just really for people who are like, okay, I'm ready to go all in. I'm ready to take it to the next level. You know, each client that comes into that group is more like, I have been lifting for a while now. I've been going to the gym. Like I know how to use a barbell, but I want to take it up a notch. I want to look like I lift. I want to hit some big numbers, and I'm ready to like commit more and take it to the next level.
Nice. That sounds badass.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And we'll have the application link down below for anyone that is interested in that. And we'll have Sarah's Instagram too if you want to check her out. So you talked about community when you were talking about your group program and even the elite coaching mentorship. You have an amazing community that you are a part of. And I know that was kind of getting connected to Brett and getting into sort of your strength training program and being down in San Diego. Can you give us advice for anyone that's getting started and is looking for a community or, you know, a piece of advice on how to get more comfortable in the gym or find like-minded women? Can you share some nuggets with us, some golden nuggets?
Yeah, I totally get that. And for years, I felt like I was the only person that lifted in the world. You know, you're just like no other woman is experiencing what I'm experiencing. So I totally get being in that position of like going into a gym and it's all men, or going into a gym and feeling really intimidated, or just not having friends who lift, who want to get up on a Saturday morning and go to the gym. I would say, first of all, remember like that you belong there as much as everyone else, you know, especially in the dumbbell rack section. You belong there doing bicep curls along everybody else. And then second of all, to build more of a community, even if it's not in your reach in person, like there's Facebook groups that you can join. If you're usually in a group, in my group training program, you're in a Facebook group, and some of them have lived in the same areas and met up. So that's one way to meet others. Like social media is so great now. If you're a part of a gym, like follow that gym's Instagram and like see who else is going there. Maybe if they're tagging people, or I know that can feel weird. It's almost like making new friends is almost like dating. Are they gonna like me? What am I gonna say? I think that's all part of the lifting journey, is having confidence to reach out to somebody else, to build your own little community, you know. Also, I would say in the gym, like a great way to it's like a chat up line to make friends. But like, yeah, just to if you're like need a spot or something, ask someone. If you see another person that you want to be friends with, ask them to spot you. Try to join a gym that's like sometimes it can be hard in gyms like 24 Hour Fitness or Crunch or like the big commercial gyms, because I feel like people are more headphones in their zone. But if you're joining like a powerlifting gym or a gym where it's just like not as commercial, I feel like it's easier to meet other people. People are more willing to open up a conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also noticed the other day, like I go to an LA Fitness because it's closest to my house. But if you can just smile at someone else and they return that smile, now you've kind of opened it up to just you've kind of broken that wall down a little bit, right? So it can just start even as simply as a smile and saying like, who smiles back? And then like you see them again and then you see them again and then you go by them and say hi, right? So it doesn't even have to be as intimidating as like having to have a full-on conversation with someone. But I liked your tips of like choosing a location that people are like, you know, more community oriented, finding your community outside of maybe in person and asking people for spots or even asking them questions. So thanks for sharing all that. So I know you said part of your training philosophy is being able to train hard and intentional so that you have time to do other things that you enjoy. Are there any other values within your training or, you know, those 2 or 3 training philosophies that you want to share with us and that you feel like are really your anchors?
Yeah, I would say lift with intention would be a big one. So not just like doing whatever all the time. You know, just like really being intentional about like the whole next 6 months or a year even. Like what is my goal? Like what do I need to focus on over the next few months? How am I going to focus on that? So like that means like following a program. That means like having an intention when you show up to the gym that day. Like reading your body, like how is my energy today? Like is this a deload week? Is this a week where I pull back? Am I planning building up to a peak week, you know, week where I push harder and go for PRs? Because if you're not really planning, you're like not having structure in your training, you're not going to get intentional results. So I would say that's one of the biggest ones, is to train with more intention.
Yeah, I think a lot of women kind of get or forget or don't even know that you can train for a program that's 3 months long or 6 months long or even 12 months long and work towards PRs and deload weeks and things like that. And that's really the foundation of strength training, right? Building up to your PR and then giving your body a rest and then kind of starting the cycle all over again. So we talked a lot about your training philosophy, and you mentioned nutrition coaching as part of your elite coaching mentorship services. What's your nutrition philosophy and kind of how do you approach your own nutrition, and what are some of your nutrition pillars for your clients?
Yeah, so for my clients, what I'll do basically when I hear, you know, more in depth into their life is the main question is what can they stay consistent with? So I have like kind of two paths that we can go. One is like tracking their food, macros and calories. And that works really, really well for some people. You know, it's like I enjoy knowing exactly what's going in, what's going out. I enjoy having that like laid out, like how much I'm eating. Some people, they're like, I cannot track during the day. Like I'm not consistent with it. I forget to do it. I don't want to weigh food. I want to eat out and not worry about like how much is in this. So for those people who don't want to track, that's fine. You don't have to. I have plenty of clients who get results who don't. Then it's more so of like, okay, well, what are your struggles right now? You know, what are you struggling with? Like, is your goal to get stronger? Is your goal to lose weight? Is your goal to gain weight? Educate them on like exactly what that looks like. If your goal is to gain weight, you need to be eating more food. If your goal is to lose weight, you need to like eat a little less, but also reminding them not to make big changes all of a sudden, you know, over time, small ones. And that's what I'll take them through in the Elite Coaching mentorship, is making small changes over time. For example, we could start with like, okay, like trying to get enough protein in each meal, making sure, because that's so important for building muscle and for getting stronger, is getting enough protein. Like 1 gram per pound of body weight is what we should be getting if we're trying to hit those goals. And then as far as the tracking and the macros, if that's going to work best for someone, then I will track it through FitnessPal, and then we'll check in every 2 weeks and give them suggestions on what to change, and you know, if and how their body is reacting to it, then we'll adjust from there on the calories and macros.
So it seems really flexible and applicable for whatever client you might be working with.
Yeah, because everyone is different. Like someone who doesn't like to be on their phone, has kids, doesn't really have time to be tracking food. Someone who has tracked before and enjoys that and like enjoys that kind of guideline of weighing their food will work for. So it's really whatever can stay consistent. Like there's no point in me having one strict way of doing things when everyone has different needs and goals.
Yeah. And you talked a bit about protein when it comes to carbs and that being sort of our energy source. Is that something that you also recommend women start eating more of when they're trying to build strength and put on muscle?
Yeah, carbs are so important. Not just even if you're not trying to build muscle and get stronger, just to be being a human in the world, you still need energy from carbs. And I hope, like sometimes you forget that some people still have that fear of carbs, because you're just so past that. But it's like, yeah, like there is definitely still advertisements saying that they're bad and you shouldn't eat them. And like the only reason you shouldn't eat them is if you have like a food intolerance or they mess with your body or don't make you feel good, but other than that, like you need them, you need energy for your recovery, for to help you sleep well, to help you lift more, to get stronger, to help you build muscle. Like if you want to build a physique, if you want to get stronger, you need to eat carbohydrates and all the other food groups too.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, it would mean so much to me if you took less than 2 minutes to give us 5 stars and submit a quick review. Your feedback helps other women who are looking for help with their cravings and fat loss goals find us more easily and benefit from the free content we share. Thank you so much. It truly means a lot. So what's your current training program like right now? How many days are you training and how are you kind of splitting your days up?
So my current training program is 4 days a week, 2 upper, 2 lower. And that's what I've been doing for the last maybe 5 years or so.
Wow. Nice.
I have tried to do full body. I've tried to do 5 days. I've done 3 days full body and 5 days. I found that I'm so hungry, so I can't recover as well. I don't progress as well. I just feel like an empty pit where I just can't stop eating. That's funny because it's like the more you do, you think the more you'll get, but 4 days is way better for me than 5. 3 doesn't feel like enough. I'm like, I have a bit more in me.
Yeah.
Some days it's 3, some weeks it's 3 if I travel, or it could be like a week before my period where I'm more tired. I'll allow myself that, but most of the time it's 4 days, 2 upper, 2 lower.
So if someone just getting started with strength training, how do you recommend that they get started? Should they start with dumbbells? Should they start getting comfortable with a barbell right away? Should they go to those like 5-6 main lifts that you were talking about? What's a good intro for them?
Yeah, I would say getting started with dumbbells is really good to get really good at the basic movements. Keep it simple, like choose 4 to 5 movements to do per workout. You don't need to do 10. Just get really good at those 4 to 5. And over time, as your form gets better, like definitely recommend hiring a coach from the start and just investing in yourself for the long term, like do it now and you won't be having shitty form for years and hurt yourself and not want to go back.
Yeah.
Just invest in it right now and know how to do it properly and save yourself years of like feeling frustrated and confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, because form is so important. Like if you want good mind muscle connection, if you want to avoid injury, if you want to keep progressing, that's like number 1. And I see so many people just winging it and YouTubing it or Instagramming it or looking at what everyone else is doing, and it just takes a lot longer,
Yeah. That's really good advice, is investing in coaching early to kind of get that knowledge, get that baseline, get those foundational elements in place so that you can build upon them without having sort of those cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, a good coach too, because I know there's a lot of coaches out there, a lot on Instagram and stuff, and I just heard some really bad stories, and I would just say like someone like do your research and just someone who you can trust. And yeah, like Instagram's so good that way you can really see who they are, what they have achieved, and who they've helped and stuff. So I would say like do your research too.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Go to Sarah's Instagram and follow her
Yeah.
and all of the women that she follows because they're probably legit.
Yes.
So what's next for you? We heard about some of the numbers that you want to try and hit. You just had your
Hmm.
fourth strong lift in competition. So what's next? What's on the horizon?
Definitely just working on those numbers that I mentioned earlier. I would like to do a powerlifting meet soon, maybe in the summer.
Nice.
But yeah, right now, like it's only been like 2 weeks or so since I did that last strong lifting competition, so I'm not putting pressure on myself to be going straight back into it. I'm just kind of enjoying other things, like giving myself the option to hike more if I need to, if I want to, and not like make it such a strict routine of lifting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I would like to do a powerlifting meet soon, maybe yeah, middle of summer or so.
Nice. Yeah, and you've mentioned that a couple times, allowing yourself time for things that you enjoy. Can you share with us like some of your personal enjoyments and things that you like to do besides lifting that kind of bring you joy, fill up your cup, and help get grounded in your day to day?
Yeah, so over the last year I've actually been meditating every day, which has been something new.
Nice.
That's been really good. I use this app called Insight Timer.
Love Insight Timer.
Yeah, so good. I've tried meditating before and I couldn't stick to it because I'm like I can't just clear my mind, you know. But this is more like mindful. Do you use it?
Yeah, I've been using it for a while. I love all of the options they have. You can do like you can just put music on in the background. You can do guided talks. You can search specifically like I want to do a meditation on abundance or self-care or my sacral chakra or something. It'll give you anything that you need.
Yeah, I love it, and it's really nice to be able to pick how you're feeling that day and
Yes.
just choose that one. I've chose a lot of like surrendering and trusting lately. You know, just surrendering to whatever's coming and trusting the
Mm-hmm.
process of whatever's happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been something I've been doing over the last year. Also, yeah, I love traveling. Been traveling a lot over the last few weeks and hoping to do more over the next few months and this summer.
Nice.
Yeah, just allow myself time to do that. And whenever I travel with my lifting, I will just, I will look for a gym. I do lift when I travel, but I won't be like putting pressure on myself. Like it has to be exactly as it is in the program.
Right.
Just taking
Right.
some pressure off. I love hiking and just going out in the wild. So that's something that I allow myself to do and try to plan that so I still have sufficient rest days and I'm able to like go hike some big mountains. But yeah, those are my main top things that make me happy right now.
Yeah. That's great. And I think what you said about taking the pressure off when I'm on vacation or traveling or, being okay with not doing the exact program. I think for someone like you who competes and maybe other women who have performance goals or, other women that are just trying to show up consistently in the gym, like my goal is 4 days a week. I think it's a good reminder that we're human and we're going to have human experiences like
Mm-hmm.
people visiting or we're traveling or we have our period or we're
Mm-hmm.
tired or, whatever it might be. And just allowing for that flexibility so that we don't let that shame and guilt hang over our heads and then affect,
Right.
the next 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for women to hear, like, even from someone like you who's, hitting all these amazing numbers, like you
Mm-hmm.
still go off the program, you still hike instead of doing a lift some
Mm-hmm.
days to allow your body to listen to your body and allow your body what it needs.
Yeah, and just to look at the bigger picture. Like it's never about 1 week or it's never about a few days. It's really about the whole few months or the year. You know, if you're putting so much pressure on yourself to lift and hit your fitness goals and forgetting about other things that make you happy, how long are you going to be able to do that for? are you going to keep that up and stay consistent with? And I really believe that's why I've been lifting for so long, is because I've taken the pressure off of being this one way all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice for us to end the podcast on. Before we go, I do want to ask you, because I like to ask all our guests, is like, what's your favorite Crave food? Obviously, this is a Cravings Control for Fat Loss podcast, but you know, Cravings Control for health and Cravings Control for enjoyment as well. And so what's your favorite Crave food? Are you a chocolate girl? Are you a salty girl? Are you a cheese girl? Like, tell me the delicious foods that you love.
I would say my 3 top food cravings. Number 1 is chocolate. So I have a piece every day.
Same.
Yeah, I love chocolate. So good. Number 2 would be ketchup, tomato ketchup. I'm obsessed.
Wow.
Since I was a kid. Yeah.
I love that. I had a friend in college who would put ketchup on everything, like sandwiches and breakfast foods and lunch and dinner all the time.
Yeah, I love ketchup.
That's amazing. I love that. That's like, a Crave. That's amazing.
It's like the plate and then a side of ketchup, you know?
So you grew up with that. So that's kind of like a comfort food.
Yeah, I guess it would be something that brings me home a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
And then the third one would be potatoes.
Like roasted potatoes or potato chips?
Roasted.
Okay. Like a baby potato or like a French fry?
Idaho potatoes are my favorite.
Okay. With ketchup.
Idaho. Yeah, I can't have one without the other. I mean, I will if I have to, but I prefer not to.
I love that.
But yeah, Idaho potatoes, like chopped up in the air fryer, bit of oil, bit of salt, and then take them out and then blast them in ketchup.
Yes, I love that. And I love that it's not even Irish potatoes that you said. You're like, I'm having Idaho potatoes.
Yeah, Idaho has been my recent love. Yeah.
I love that so much. Well, Sarah, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Where can we find you?
So my Instagram is at Sarah Staples Fit. My website, I don't know if anyone still uses websites these days, but it's www.sarahstaplesfitness.com. But yeah, mostly Instagram. That's where you find me.
All right. We'll link those below for anyone that's interested in checking out Sarah. And thanks for listening, everyone. And thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Of course. You're welcome.